Hey everybody, long time no see. It's Adam Biggers, and I'm doing a live stream. Obviously, wanted to do it a little bit earlier. It's about 10:22 p.m. Eastern time. So sorry for being late, but um, kind of came out of nowhere with the Mel Tucker hiring at Michigan State. So I wanted to discuss that. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and tweet out the link. For those who remember my work, thank you for reading my stuff. For those who are new, I covered Michigan and Michigan State, primarily Michigan, for several outlets for roughly 10 years. And I'm no longer in media, so I'm just kind of getting back to just being a sports fan and reacting to, so this came out of nowhere. I mean, I can't say that I didn't see the Mark D'Antonio era ending like this. This is pretty much exactly how I saw, and I think a lot of people did too, especially those I knew a few people. I was close to with Michigan football, had a lot of information, but I not so much with Michigan State, so I had to rely on people that I knew. And from what I was being told for I don't know about the past 2.5 years now, that this day was coming and it probably wasn't going to be pretty. So some of those doomsday reports I don't want to say were necessarily off the mark. Some of them were exaggerated, but a little bit of them had truth to them. So I'm going to go ahead and tweet out the link. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to ask. I'm going to just rattle off some numbers for you guys. First of all, I don't like the Mel Tucker hiring, and I don't think I think a lot of you probably guessed it over the years. I was never a Michigan fan, although I covered Michigan. I was actually a Michigan State fan. I still am a Michigan State fan. So I'll play a little bit of. I don't know if I could play it on YouTube off the TV because it's a copyright infringement. But I think I don't even know if I could play the audio for you actually. But Tom Izzo said that he was like overzealous about this, and everybody at Michigan State seems excited about this. I think this is a horrible hire. I don't know why you don't keep Tress as an interim or name Harlan Barnett interim or just head coach with the understanding of let's wait for the next coaching cycle to really go get a big fish. Instead, they're paying a guy who's got a little bit of resume of being under Nick Saban and being at Georgia, being at Ohio State with Mark D'Antonio. I mean, as an assistant. Uh, no major roles. 1 year at Colorado, 5-7. Just, I mean, this hiring does not make any sense to me at all. So let me go ahead before we start getting into the questions and everything. I'm going to go ahead and tweet out the link. We'll even talk a little bit about Michigan, I guess, if you guys want to. But honestly, because now that I'm not a sports writer anymore, I still coach. Go Braves! That's my team. We have I co-coach it with Jim Kosmerick. We have a big tournament in Waterford this weekend, so excited about that. And to be honest with you, I've watched maybe like 3 college basketball games this year. 2 of them were Michigan State games. I didn't even watch Michigan versus Michigan State. I've caught some highlights. I've been really busy with my new career, so um, which I can kind of tie my athletic connections to it, but it has nothing to do with media. So I'm not really up on a lot of things, and so don't. We're not going to talk about basketball at all. I don't even want to discuss basketball. It feels a lot differently now to kind of look at sports from outside of being media. You're there, you're objective. I mean, I think everybody there was is a sports fan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. But some people can't leave their fandom at the door. So now I can kind of step back and be a fan again. As a Michigan State fan, I don't like the hire. As objective, look at it through the lens of a media member. I don't like the hire. It doesn't make sense in any sense, shape or form, fashion, anything. Just doesn't make any sense. I know that you guys have some questions. Or is it too late? I probably did this too late. I don't know if there's anyone in the chat. We'll go over some numbers out, and this is why I don't like the hire. 1 year as a head coach, 5-7 at Colorado. It's a 6 year, approximately $30 million, I think it's like $5.5 million per year, which puts him in the ballpark of uh, he's making more than Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy's was 5.125 uh, last year, according to USA Today. Mike Gundy, I think, is a proven head coach. He's making more than Willie Taggart, $5 million at Florida State. Making more than Charlie Strong, $5 million at South Florida. Making more than Gary Patterson, $4.9 million at Texas Christian TCU. He's making more money than Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson's a proven coach. Making more money than Kirk Ferentz, $4.8 million. There's making more money than Chris Peterson, 4.625 at Washington. Again, these are 2019 salaries. He's making more money than Mark D'Antonio, 4.39, roughly $4.4 million. Making more money than Paul Chryst at Wisconsin. Let's see who else is on this list. That he's making more money than Coach Ed at LSU. His salary in 2019 was $4 million. So Michigan State's really just emptying out the piggy bank to lure in Mel Tucker. I mean, if you're going to do that, I don't understand why you don't sit on the money. Like I said earlier, if you just joined the stream, name Harlan Barnett head coach, name Mike Tressel head coach, take the interim tag off because it's just going to scare away recruits, but with the understanding that they will be the head coach until the next coaching cycle. It's very difficult to try to find a head coach at this point in the game. It's already mid to late February. The circumstances under which Mark D'Antonio retired, we'll call it a retirement, and I mean, I don't want to say he's gonna, pull a move and we see him at an SEC school in about 2 years, but let's face it, I don't think he's done coaching. He's in a special role at Michigan State right now. The whole situation to me reeks, and I think everybody can see kind of through all the talk, and I think that's the main reason why. And if you watched it, like I said, I don't know if it'd be a YouTube infringement, copyright infringement, if I even played audio from it. I don't think it would be, so let's go ahead and do it. Listen to Tom Izzo.
Pause.
Talking about...
Had many opportunities to leave and never wanted to leave. And
volume 33, 41, 49.
Year,
volume 59, 64.
With the jealousies that go on in a lot of schools, a lot of football and basketball coaches don't get along. A lot of women's volleyball and basketball don't get along. It's been an unbelievable 37 years and 25 of them as the head coach. And you're the 25th head coach. It seems like it's all right. What makes me happier is that you have Big Ten background. I've always said I think it's important, and you've worked for some of the great guys. I'm a big Barry Alvarez fan. Nick Saban and I started together as assistant.
Play.
Well, I thought that I had it queued up. I'm sorry. But anyway, Izzo said that he wanted to be buried at Michigan State and that he hopes, which I think is true, and I think that Tom Izzo has demonstrated that, although I still think after he gets a national championship, another one, he'll be done as head coach. But if you look at it from just the longevity standpoint, he referenced this 37 years because he was an assistant under Judd Heathcote till now. So yeah, that is essentially a lifetime. I mean, I'm 38 years old. Tom Izzo has been at Michigan State for approximately 1 year less than I've been alive. So if you look at it from that standpoint, he was referencing that he wants Mel Tucker to feel that way too. And Mel Tucker does have personal ties. He did get engaged to his wife while he was a grad assistant at Michigan State. And I'll read a couple tweets from Larry Lage, LL Cool Age, one of the coolest members of the media. Very unbiased, very factual. I respect Larry's work. I always have. And I consider him a friend. He does a great job. And he said Michigan State is paying Mel Tucker $5.5 million per season as part of his 6-year contract. Tucker was one season into a 5-year, $14.75 million contract at Colorado. And let's not forget, a lot of Colorado players, recruits, parents are really pissed off at Mel Tucker. They're calling him a con man, a traitor. Just Saturday, he reinforced the notion that he was not interested in the Michigan State job and looked like he was going to be like one of what, like 10 guys, maybe not 10, but everybody is saying no to Michigan State. Luke Fickell, I knew that was not going to happen. Why Luke Fickell's got a good thing going is he's going to be a big time head coach in about 5-6 years. Just watch, and he wants to steer clear of this mess at Michigan State. Anybody in their right mind would want to steer clear of the mess at Michigan State right now. But, I mean, if you double a guy's salary, he's going to, oh, okay, well, yeah, I love Colorado. I'm saying, wait a minute, 5.5 million? Okay, see you guys. He didn't even get to address the team. I read a bunch of reports. The Colorado athletic director didn't even let him address the team. So they're like, get the hell out of here. So on that note, it is late night, so hold on, got to wet the whistle. Two-Hearted, or if Bell's Brewery, can't even talk, is watching. Two-Hearted, please sponsor my little live stream. We'll make it really casual. Here's another tweet from Larry on this. Mel Tucker, this is a quote. Leaving Colorado was actually the toughest thing that I've ever done in my career, in my life, actually. But this is the right time for me to be here, and that's really what it comes down to. The commitment is here. The resources are here. This guy just days ago, Saturday, was like ironclad, I'm staying at Colorado. That night, I mean, I wonder if that's when Michigan State just wired him. You know, here's a down payment. I don't know how it went down. Only they do. But we do know that Michigan State essentially pulled up a couple Brinks trucks and just emptied them out on Mel Tucker's front lawn and said, please come to East Lansing. We need somebody who's willing to take this job. And the fact that he has Midwest ties, they're probably hoping that that's going to help in recruiting. But honestly, I'm not thrilled with this hire. And I do think, I mean, it's a 6-year contract. I do think Michigan State will have a new head football coach in, I don't know, let's call it 2 years. Michigan State will go 3-9, 4-8 this season. And everybody, wait a minute, let Mel do his thing, you know, give a first-year head coach a little bit of a break, and everybody will be willing to do that. And then next year, you know, 5-7, 6-6, Michigan just stomping all over them, Ohio State stomping all over them, Wisconsin, whoever's on the schedule. I mean, the days of Michigan State of being a powerhouse in football are done. And I don't think that Mel Tucker is the right head coach. And nothing against Mel Tucker. It's completely due to circumstance. There is no way that Michigan State is going to just rebound overnight. Mel Tucker is essentially a stopgap to, I mean, it's putting a Band-Aid over a cut that needs stitches. So this is all it is. I think it's a Band-Aid hire. They're trying to make it look really good. Everybody at Michigan State's optimistic, and I'm calling bull on it. And you know, Tom Izzo can say everything about he hopes that Mel Tucker feels the same way, and you know, razz it up all he wants. Angelica Campos, hey Angelica, tell Steven I said hello. Really appreciate you guys watching. You guys it could be razzed up, you know, dress it up, do whatever you want. The situation is still what it is. And what it is the fact that Michigan State was desperate to get somebody to take this job. And the only way they could do it was to lure a coach who was just willing to sell himself for money. And hey, I can't say that I wouldn't. If right now I'm very happy in my new career. If someone came knocking on my door or emailing me tomorrow and said, "Hey, we'll double your salary. Do you want to go?" As much as I love this job, double salary at this point in my life, yes. But if you're in a position where you're already making millions of dollars and you are really putting yourself in front of these families and just bold-faced lying, who was Mel Tucker before the Michigan State offer came around? That's the Mel Tucker that Colorado probably loved and the players loved. And that's probably the Mel Tucker that Michigan State would love. But when money does things to people. And if he's willing to just, and I know it's a business, it happens, blah, 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 big time D1 football, there's no love lost, you know, But I mean, this guy just a year ago was famously quoted saying, well, now infamously quoted, saying something along the lines of, there's no transfer portal in life. I mean, and these coaches preach this to the players and just double the money. And I can see it. I mean, it's a financial move. He says that Michigan State's a dream job. I mean, of course they do. I mean, for $5.5 million, I would say anything was my dream job. So, Tron 7000 says it just it's just the black coaches get the crap jobs because the system is fixed. At least give him a chance. Tron, this has nothing to do with Mel Tucker being black. Nothing to do with Mel Tucker being black. It has everything to do with Mel Tucker being having 1 year of head coaching experience, 5-7 at Colorado, and it's a great chance for Mel Tucker. You know, as a Michigan State fan, I hope that he succeeds, but I don't think I don't think he will succeed. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with circumstance. I don't know if Mel Tucker is the guy. Mel Tucker is going to be the guy who's the bridge to the next guy. The real head coach. Mel Tucker is going to go in there and hopefully he fixes some problems. I don't know what's expected of him. I don't know what the average Michigan State fan expects from him, but I just said it a few minutes ago. I think that, it's going to be a 4-8 season, 5-7, then maybe 6-6. First year, they'll give him a little, cut him a little bit of slack. First year, he's going to deserve it. Second year, they're going to realize, hey, this guy's just not it for the job. And it has everything to do with, I just don't believe, I know his resume. I just don't believe that he's the guy. Angelica, did they say what the length of his contract is? Yes, it's 6 years. They signed this guy to a 6-year deal. 30 million approximately. $30 million deal. And let me go over this list again because that puts him in the ballpark with guys like Dan Mullen at Florida. James Franklin made 5.65 in 2019 per USA Today. Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, one of the most respected coaches in college football, runs an excellent program at Northwestern, 5.144 million. Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, 5.125. Scott Frost at Nebraska, 5 million. Willie Taggart, Florida State, 5 million. Charlie Strong, South Florida, 5 million. Gary Patterson, 4.9 at TCU. Kirk Ferentz, 4.8. That's what I'm saying. And to go back to Tron's comment, I mean, there are black head coaches that are making big money. I don't think it has anything to do about race. That's a whole another discussion. But I mean, it's Michigan State just wanting to throw money at somebody. Black, white, it doesn't matter. Are you willing to take the job? Yes or no? You have somewhat of a resume. He has some connections to Michigan State. He has some Midwestern connections. He went to Wisconsin. He's got a bunch of recruiting connections. But Harlan Barnett and Mike Tressel have those connections. Who do you think's been recruiting all these players for Michigan State and Mark D'Antonio? Harlan Barnett, Mike Tressel. They've brought in some of the best players at Michigan State during the D'Antonio era. That's just what I don't understand. Why not keep Barnett or Tressel as a head coach, take the interim tag off just so it doesn't scare away recruits, but knowing that the next recruiting cycle, go after somebody else? Why Mel Tucker? Why? That's my question. Why Mel Tucker? Tron, look at the numbers for black coaches and blacks dominate college football. Come on, man. Tron, that's another discussion, but I'm not trying to get into the race debate. I'm just saying, with Mel Tucker, it doesn't matter that he's black in this circumstance. Not to me. It matters that Michigan State's just throwing a ton of money at somebody. I mean, good for him that he's getting paid. And yes, I do agree that there is a wage gap between white coaches and African American coaches in college sports. Yes, but I don't want to discuss that, and that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is Michigan State's throwing a ton of money comparable to accomplished head coaches at somebody who went 5-7 at Colorado and has a number 34 recruiting class and had a number 71 defense, and then it regressed to 104 nationally. That's what I'm talking about. They're throwing money at somebody who the hell is Mel Tucker, you know? Jim McElwain or Chris Creighton, I could have lived with that. Even they don't want to go to Michigan State. I don't know the circumstances. I know that Tom Izzo was heavily involved, and he said that he had coaching connections. I mean, as a just looking at it objectively, Jim McElwain has a resume. He has recruiting ties. Chris Creighton, he's an up and coming. I mean, Chris Creighton, but you can't argue to pay Chris Creighton $5.5 million a year. Jim McElwain, possibly. He was the head coach at Florida at one point. So that's what I'm saying. Why not Mel Tucker? Other than having some Michigan State ties, who is Mel Tucker? That's my point. Angelica Campos says they botched the coaching search for sure. I think it's best case scenario to have landed Tucker. Definitely overpaid for him though. And I'm not saying that he's not a quality coach. Is he a $5.5 million a year coach? Is he on Kirk Ferentz, Pat Fitzgerald? Is he on that level? That's what I'm saying. No. He could be a great coach. In time. I do not think that Michigan State is it's not the right time or circumstance for Mel Tucker. If I were him, I would have stayed at Colorado, and he could have really probably built a dynasty in his sense in 5 years, taking it from what it was to where he wants it to be a Pac-12 contender. I don't like the hire. I don't. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction. They just had to get somebody in there. Angelica Campos said, I'm just glad you guys didn't get on Fleck or McElwain. Yeah, I mean, PJ Fleck, that would have been, Michigan State. I know with Luke Fickell, that was the main target. I don't know if PJ Fleck was even a realistic option. I'm not a big fan of PJ Fleck's rah-rah, but let's face it, he's building something pretty good at Minnesota. He's a good coach. Whatever PJ Fleck's doing, it works. I don't know if PJ Fleck would be the right fit. Can you imagine just Michigan State week, PJ Fleck and Jim Harbaugh? That would be overboard. I don't know. From one end of, do I seem overly emotional to you, to PJ Fleck just getting all crazy at the podium. So fun press conferences, I'm sure. Tron says, agree to disagree. Race has everything to do with it. But hey, everything to do with what? I don't have a problem talking about race, but I don't like being baited with vague comments. That has everything to do with it. What? Michigan State didn't hire Mel Tucker because he's black. I don't know what you're trying to get at. The fact that there's a wage gap between white coaches and black coaches, I admitted that. Yeah, there is. There is. That's a whole nother issue. My thing with Mel Tucker is that he is not worth a 6-year, $30 million deal. He just isn't. He's at Colorado. They gave him 5 years for $14.75 million. At Colorado. He's going to come into Michigan State making money at the level of coaches who have actually competed for Big Ten titles as head coaches, have longevity. That's my problem. If you were at your job for X amount of years and you were successful in a management position, and I just got hired on, I have some assistant experience, I've been with some big companies, I've worked under some names, but if I came in and got your job and they paid me double, wouldn't you be mad? That's my point. America, everything, especially when one group controls acting. Okay, well now you're getting on a whole nother level, man. And I would be happy to have this conversation if it were in person, but I'm not going to do it on YouTube. said, why would I bait anyone? I just can't say if he was worth it giving him a chance. That's all. Right, but I mean, give him a chance if it's same thing with my scenario that I just mentioned to you, right? If I had similar experience, then you'd be like, okay, well, I can understand why they're giving this guy a bunch of money, right? But if you've been in a senior role for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever, and I have some administrative assistant stuff under some guys with some names, and I come in and I'm working side by side with you or whatever, same job, and I'm getting paid double the money or same money as you, wouldn't you be a little upset? That's my point. So I mean, that's my logic behind why is Michigan State doing this. This is crazy. But any other questions, comments? I don't know, really anything new with Michigan football. I just felt like I wanted to do a live stream because it's been a while, and I figured, hey, Mel Tucker at Michigan State, this is something that I know a lot of people are going to be talking about. What does it mean for the Big Ten? I mean, the Big Ten going to be even scared of Michigan State anymore? The point being is that the days of, we've seen the golden era of Michigan State football, and I am completely prepared for a decade of 4-8, 5-7, 6-6, if something doesn't happen. I mean, the optimist in me wants to believe, hey, Mel Tucker's going to come in, he's going to do a great job, and everything's going to be fine, right? And I mean, there was a lot of optimism behind the hiring of Mark D'Antonio, but he had head coach experience, right? But he came from Cincinnati, and there were some people who liked the hire, there were some people who didn't, and Mark D'Antonio ended up being the guy who to take Michigan State football to the promised land and beyond. I mean, these were the best years of Michigan State football. He's the all-time winningest coach in Michigan State football history. So you have to at least appreciate that and respect that. And for kind of unceremonious departure, what are you going to say about a guy like Mel Tucker? Well, hey, I was 5-7 at Colorado and I had the number 34 recruiting class, according to some websites. Okay, great. Welcome aboard. We hope you stay for life. I'm not buying it. I'm really not. So, there's no other questions. Dale Dobeck says he's back, boys. Hey, Dale, how's it going? If there's no other questions, I'm going to continue drinking beer, I think. I don't have anything going until tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's the benefit of my new job. It's super flexible, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm really thankful to have it. So I get to do some work from home, and if I want to, I can stay up and drink a couple beers at night and watch Netflix or do whatever. So it's a lot different than following every single move of every single person and going to the press conferences, and now I can kind of sit back and casually watch, and I mean, if there's stuff that I'm interested in, I'll read about it. I will say this though, Michigan State basketball, not impressive whatsoever, but I will say this, Xavier Tillman will play in the NBA. If you have not paid attention to this kid and just his athletic development, now in his third year at Michigan State, if you have not paid attention to this guy's athletic development, you are really missing out. He has really sculpted himself into an NBA body. He's got the athleticism. Xavier Tillman is going to play in the NBA. And this was a kid who was kind of an underrated recruit. Not a lot of people were talking about him. I remember I had him on my podcast, interviewed him a couple times. Incredibly mature. He's a dad coming out of high school, and just a guy that not a lot of people were talking about. But remember the name, Xavier Tillman. He will play in the NBA. If you saw that dunk, I just watched a little bit of the game against Illinois and caught some highlights this morning. That dunk last night off the backboard from Cassius was just incredible. I mean, that's the guys in the NBA are getting paid a lot of money to do that. Xavier Tillman's going to do that in the NBA. Dale Dobeck says, two-hearted gang. Yes, sir. If you guys know anybody at Bell's Brewery, please tell them to sponsor the show. They can just send me like the little 4-pack. You get one of those. Get some Twinkies. you're good. That's what I did. I've been cooking a lot more at home too because I was so used to just eating out all the time, or all the great food that's catered at Michigan. I will miss that. That was probably the best part. And I told you guys the food at Michigan State basketball, food's really good. Coin toss depending on what night it is at Michigan basketball. If it's Pizza House, and not so much because all the time the pizza was really soggy in those because they just had to cart out massive amounts of it and just stacked on top of each other and just all the steam. It was really soggy. At Michigan State basketball, pretty good. There'd be like pasta salad and a lot of other things, chicken wings. But nothing compared to Michigan football. Michigan State football, you get 2 hot dog vouchers or bratwurst, whatever you wanted to do, and then you had to pay for anything else. At Michigan, if you got there early enough, you could get in on the breakfast buffet that they fed the TV crew in the morning, and then they bring in the lunch buffet. And then sometimes if you're there long enough, like if there's a weather delay, like in 2015 against Utah, they brought up all this like pork tenderloin, and that was really good. And the food at Michigan was incredible. I will miss the food at Michigan. It was, 7 of the best years of my life. Shout out to all the caterers at Michigan. They do a wonderful job. Wonderful job. So if we're all done, are we all done? I don't like the hire of Mel Tucker at Michigan State. I think I've made that clear. If you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, feel free to tweet me at AdamBiggers81. The handle's still the same. Not a media member anymore. So if you still give a crap about what I say, great. If you don't, that's cool too. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank everybody for reading my stuff in the past. And again, follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. I'm still up to talk about sports just about any time. I just don't follow it like I used to. I mean, I took a break. I kind of stepped back from it and started to kind of enjoy other things. I think a lot of you guys know that I love baseball and I coach baseball, and this is my first year as a 12U coach. I'm used to coaching college guys over the summer, and which reminds me, happy birthday to Caleb Pleicher. I coached Caleb for a few years. He's headed out to the Pecos League Independent. It's minor league baseball, so hopefully he makes it. So happy birthday, Caleb, if you're watching. If you're not, I don't care. And but it's just a lot of fun. And now coaching, a young age, we have a big tournament in Waterford this weekend, so hoping to do well. And so that's about it. Just enjoying work, hanging out with the dogs, and coaching baseball. And if you get a chance, regardless what level, however much you know about the game, whether you're an expert or just a novice or you're interested, there's so many youth sports out there that need coaching, and it doesn't matter. You could have played in college, you could have been a pro, you could have played in middle school, you could have never played. If you have some interest and you have some time, these kids really appreciate it. The guys that I coach, I'm fortunate enough they're really focused. A lot of these guys are going to play college baseball, and it's a real joy to coach them. But if you have any sort of time, get out there just to experience it. Kids need it. I know that there's a shortage on officials. I know a lot of you guys know the rules to the game. So if you have some time, be an official, be a coach, get involved. There's nothing more rewarding, I think, than probably coaching youth sports. The only difference between the kids and the college guys is I got to tone down my language just a little bit. I go from like probably an 11 with the college guys and just cussing them out to probably about a 7, 8 with the 12U guys. Just got to watch the F-bombs, but it's about the same. So same approach. You got to get on them. You got to push them. So it's a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for watching. Oh, hold on. Dale Dilbeck, how do you feel about the Mookie Betts trade? I love it. Dodgers are one of my favorite teams, always have been. Dale says, been a varsity lacrosse coach for 3 years. Before that, a middle school coach for 2 years. Love it. Right, Dale? I mean, and especially at that age when like, just the little things that you're telling them are making an impact. Like with college guys, I didn't really coach college guys. You manage them. They know what they're doing. They're playing college baseball, so obviously they're good. So with the 12U team, and we'll coach it. I'll be with this team until they get to college. It's it's a thing, day by day progress, and it's a lot of fun to see them improve. So nothing is more rewarding than seeing them succeed with what you're putting in front of them. I agree, Dale. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm sorry for doing the live stream so late. Next time I'll try to do one a little bit earlier. But if you want to see more, tweet me at AdamBiggers81. It was a lot of fun, just like old times, and I appreciate it. So have a good night, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time.